Yeah, we were like a racehorse running really fast
Right.
with not sure which direction to go.
Right.
Yeah.
There was not a lot of
Lots of horsepower, no steering.
lots.
Yeah.
Exactly. We went that way for, I want to say like 7 to 10 years almost. Like
Yeah.
we worked really hard. We had high performing teams, but we just didn't really know where we were going and we didn't know why. We were just running.
So was there like a point in time where you're like, man, we really should figure out like the direction. We should have some better analytics. We should have some better tracking of our data. We should make decisions in a more effective way. Was there? You mentioned like the team was developing. Was there some moment where you were just like, we really can't just do this on gut anymore?
Yeah, I don't remember the like exact moment, but I think it was Cooper was getting very burnt out because he was working far more hours than I was because I was not able to work as hard as he was. And it just, everyone was, you kind of know what you need to do, but you don't know how to get there. And Breakthrough had reached out to us a couple times and we had kind of just blown it off.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was me calling you guys.
It was.
Yeah.
And Cooper was not into
Cooper
it
was
at
not into it.
all.
Cooper
And I was like, I
like,
think we need this.
I remember meeting you and
Yeah.
Cooper was like pacing around in the back.
Yes.
And he'd like maybe come in and like make a comment and then like bounce out. And I was like, okay, this is all right. This is going to be interesting. Cooper, for you, like when you think back to that time, lots of horsepower, no direction, anything else that was really sort of becoming problematic as you guys grew?
I think I do a great job of putting my head down and working really hard. I don't think I come up for air too often. So Janelle was really the driving force. And it took us a long time to understand what we needed. I don't think anyone ever told us, hey, you need to go like, talk to a business coach. You need a peer group. You need these things to like help you scale. I don't even think scale was a word that I really thought about, but we needed a way to scale this business up to the next level. We needed a way to find kind of like 1 year we'd do way more revenue, but we wouldn't make as much money. And it felt like we needed to find those profit sweet spots. We needed to find a way to scale. And then we needed to figure out long-term, like how do you make a landscape business saleable? So in the industry, it's not the norm that they sell. They kind of just fizzle away.
That's right.
So I think we're like, it took a lot of deep soul searching to understand the why and like what we were trying to get to. And like I credit Janelle 100% and probably you maybe actually her 99, you won, you sold me,
Fair.
which
I've done very little.
yeah, well, yeah.
You got us there.
I got you there.
Yeah. No, but it took a lot to convince me because I was very much just like, nope, just go do the job.
Yeah.
Like head down. And I wasn't really looking beyond my shadow.
That profit sweet spots thing is interesting. Do you kind of remember what was happening there? Did you think you were making tons of money on certain projects and then it turns out you weren't? Were there some surprises, some oh shit moments with the accountant? Like what you say those profit sweet spots, what do you tell me more about that?
I don't think it was that there was an oh shit moment. It was just like we'd work way harder and we'd go from 3 million to 4 million in revenue, but the bottom line wouldn't really change. Like
Right.
we had to increase our overhead, had to increase a lot of expenses to get to the next level. And it wasn't like there was no
what's the
GP.
point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like, what's the point? But we didn't know. Like we would just get there and then go, oh, well, that didn't work.
Yeah.
There was no forward looking. It was always like, okay, see what happened. So it took, and I don't even think I realized, I always thought more revenue equaled more dollars.
profit,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it didn't work that way. So we needed to find the next profit suite. And I think even now we're still learning, like when we got to 8 million, we're like, we really need to be 10 million. So that's, yeah. But now it's a forward looking thing. We now know where we need to be through our budget and our MVP file. Like that helps us understand where we want. We have a plan of where we want to get to.
So you just mentioned something that's kind of a good segue. We were talking offline, like it sounded like one of the big thing. If we're going to talk about like difference makers, that's really what I want to get into in this conversation with you guys is like what for CLS made the biggest difference, and that seems to be a people answer that question differently depending on their story and the market and the structure of the company. One of the things you guys had mentioned was like getting an MVP file in place and getting a lot more intentional about what you guys were doing. Janelle, you want to tell us a little bit about that process?
Sure. So when we signed up with BTA, it was December of 2019, and we had to do our budget before we could start Blueprint. And I remember we were driving out to BC for Christmas. I'm sitting in the car with the kids and I'm filling out our budget.
While
We've
driving?
never done this before. Yeah.
Did you get car sick?
No, I didn't.
Thank God.
Yes. But we had no data to even help us fill out that budget. It was like, oh, I think we'll spend $45,000 in equipment repairs.
But you're like totally ballparking it.
Oh my God.
Like-
we did not know a single. We knew our top
Arbitrary
number.
numbers. You're
Yeah.
like, that looks good.
100%.
Next. Yeah.
And
Thinking back on that, that's kind of dangerous. I had to think and drive at the same time. You're like, hey, what's this number? And I'd be like, I don't know, 45,000.
but then we did the budget and we did not come anywhere close to it in 2020 because our business like exploded because of COVID.
Right.
So we were far better off than what we had thought we were going to be at, but we now having that MVP and having the budget, we have our monthly budget, we have our annual budget, we have our cash flow planning, our trending, like it, every decision we make now, we know exactly why we're making that decision. And that was, I guess, the biggest.
Are there certain things when you think about that it allows you to see that you couldn't before? Like, are there certain numbers, metrics, things, or even just patterns, trends that you feel like you have really good visibility on now and it really helps you, whereas before you just had no clue?
The trend is huge. Like I think we look at our expenses monthly and go, wow, we've already spent 25% of use the equipment repair budget.
Yeah,
That's a great,
because that's our biggest line item is our equipment repairs.
So, but like at any point, Janelle can wrap off a number to you and know where we are as a percentage of our expense. We know exactly where we are. We did track revenue pretty good monthly, but now we really know against our budget, we know what percent we used and we know where we got to really work towards, you know?
Mm-hmm. How has this like better visibility changed the way that you guys work with your team, the way you lead your people, that kind of thing?
Listen, if you like that clip, you can watch the full episode by clicking here. If you're not yet subscribed, you probably should be, and you can do that by clicking right here.